All right, I'm going to talk to you guys about fixing your Volkswagen Bus gas gauge. There's a couple of things to know on these, and the thing you'll find is most of the time it's the sending unit, but on this one here, I'm going to tell you about kind of what happened on it. And I have another Ghia one apart, which are very similar. One of the good things to know is I think it's 68 to 71 Ghia has the same fuel tank sender. So if you look at like Wolfsburg West, you'll see they're like 80 or $90, or I don't know what they are for a VDO, which is, whatever, better quality. But the gas tank sender, if you look up for 68 to 71 Ghia, they are the same. So you can get one of those from a regular parts supply for like 25 or 30 bucks because they're actually in their computers. So that's what I usually do. So that's a little trick. So first thing you want to do is try and ground your fuel tank sender side real quick. So ground your fuel tank sender. Go back there and ground the wire that goes to your fuel tank sender, and see if your gauge goes all the way up. If it goes up to full, then possibly your gauge is okay. And this one here is kind of weird. This one here, if I ground it and if I have the gauge by itself out like this, and for instance, let's see if it works right now. No. If I ground it and I turn on the key, it'll actually go up to full. Or if it's not grounded, it'll go up to full, and then as soon as I unground it, it would start doing weird stuff. And so what we found inside of it, and this is one of the things you'll find inside these gauges, so if it doesn't work back there, you can ground the, put 6 volts to one side if it's 6-volt gauge, put 6 volts to one side, and then ground the other side. And if the gauge doesn't go all the way up when you're here, then you can take apart the gauge, and sometimes you can clean it out. But most of the time, you're going to be unsuccessful in doing that. Because what's inside this is, I'll show you what's inside here. So it looks sort of like this. You take off the ring, you pull this off, and then you take the 3 screws out of here, and you pull the middle out. Okay, and it's a whole section of it'll be like this thing here. It'll be attached to some things here. And what you could have happen is this thing needs to be grounded to this case. This is the motor. Okay, now it is possible, if you're really in a tight situation, you might, and I'm not going to say you would be able to, I haven't tried it yet, but if there was none of these left out there, you might be able to take the motor out of a brand new one, out of the new video ones, the different style, and put it in your old gauge. But it's be highly unlikely that that's going to work. It would be very difficult to do, and it's much easier just to buy another used one, or buy one of the Wolfsburg West ones at that point. So if your gauge itself is no good, most of the time you can either buy a used one and take a chance on it, or you can buy the new one, which is 120 some odd dollars at Wolfsburg West, and they actually make them. And there's some other brands out there that don't look quite like the original ones. If you really wanted the original look, that's the way to go. I don't think you can take the parts from one of these and actually put them in the other ones. I don't think they fit. So if you want to put your face on there and stuff like that, I don't think it'll work that way. But you might be successful in actually taking the motor out and putting it in the other one. Now, what we found out in mine is it had a weird ground situation. So it had some water had been built up inside here, and this thing was kind of like corroded. And inside here was actually where the problem was, where this was corroded, and there's actually some windings that you can't see that we took apart. We were trying to take two to make one. We're going to take the windings apart and then those windings were kind of grounding randomly onto the case here, and that's what was making it not work properly. So it was like sometimes it would work, sometimes it would not work. You turn your lights on and it would, go to full or go to empty, or it was doing all kinds of weird stuff like that. So I mean, if that's the case, if that's what you're having happen, more than likely you've got the same issue where inside here you're going to find that this is really corroded. Not a common situation. Typically they either work or they don't work. So, but the fuel sender, the key thing I wanted to say in this video too is the fuel sender, instead of you going to buy one from Wolfsburg West and paying the whatever, or going to Econo and buying it for whatever, $50, you can look up one for a 60, I think it's 68 to 71. It's all, you can kind of verify this just by just going on Google and stuff like that. You'll see that a 68 to 71, some websites will show that that is the same. And then you can go to a regular parts supply house and look for 68 to 71 Ghia, and you can actually buy the sender for that. You can see they look the same and they actually fit in the same hole. So and bolt in exactly the same. So you can take that one and put that in your bus and get it done for a lot cheaper by doing that. All right, so that's it for fuel tank sending to fix your gas gauge. I'll talk to you in the next video. Please like, share, and subscribe.